Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. I wanted to make a video today to talk about our debt-free process and how we were able to pay off over $100,000 in debt over the course of 4 years. We followed the Dave Ramsey plan loosely. We are Dave-ish. So today I want to talk about what his 7 steps are and how we followed them and in what areas we chose to not follow them to the T. So first I'm just going to talk about what the 7 steps are for Dave Ramsey's baby steps. So the first step is $1,000 for your emergency fund. Step 2 is paying off all your debt except for your mortgage. Step 3 is having a fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months expenses. Step 4 is investing 15% into your retirement accounts. Step 5 is saving for your kids for college. Step 6 is paying off your home early. And step 7 is build wealth and give. So starting from the beginning with step 1, the $1,000 for an emergency fund. And a lot of people will argue, and us included, that $1,000 just is not enough, especially right now with inflation and everything being what it is. $1,000 isn't really going to get you very far. So I think this is something that's very personal, and every family and every person can choose what is comfortable for them. So for example, we kind of use $1,000 as a minimum. So for example, like $1,000 is like my net zero for checking. I don't like it to get below that, even though I am very on top of our finances and there should not be any surprise charges. That's kind of just where I feel comfortable with that being like our zero. And then obviously we also have a savings account, and I chose to not deplete that either in this process. When we first were getting on board, we had quite a bit in savings, so we were able to use that and get out of that kind of hoarding mentality and putting that towards the debt. So we still never got that down to even below $1,000 either. And that was, again, just something personal that we chose to do. So step 2 then is, once you have a small emergency fund set up, then you move on to paying off all of that debt except for your mortgage. So this is going to be all your consumer debt, things like credit cards, student loans, vehicles, personal loans, anything like that. And Dave talks about using the snowball method, which is starting with the loan that is the smallest, paying that off first, and then rolling that payment into the next one. So the thought here is it's all a mind game. So starting with the smallest one first, you're going to get a quicker win. So if you have something that's, say, $200 or even $1,000, whatever it is, seeing that progress that you're making on that, paying that off, kind of gets you motivated to keep going. So let's just say that whatever that is, say your minimum monthly payment is $50. Once you've completely paid that off, you take that $50 and add it on to the minimum payment of your next lowest. So now you're going to go through that quicker because you've added that $50 to it. So the whole point is it snowballs as that payment gets bigger and bigger, and you pay it off quicker and quicker. And that is the method that we chose to do, but we only had student loans and vehicle payments. We did have, my husband's student loan was broken up into smaller, like subset loans within one large one. So we did kind of use that method within there because it was nice to be able to, we paid that one off within it and kind of could see and feel that progress for it. The alternative method is the avalanche method, which is whatever one has the highest interest rate, tackling that one first because you're obviously paying more in interest that way. So either way, whatever is going to work for you is totally fine. So step 3 then, once you've paid off all of that consumer debt, is to have a fully funded emergency fund. So this is 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. So looking at what you typically spend in a month, and then calculating out, 3 to 6 months. So bare minimum, your house, your 4 walls, we call it, of what you would need to survive should you lose your job or something like that. So there's obviously going to be things that could then be cut out that aren't truly a necessity. So for us, we currently have probably, I say 3 months, but it's probably really more than that if we needed to. Like if there was a job loss or something and we had to scale back, it would last more than 3 months, but currently it's about 3 months of income in that account. And again, that is money that you're going to set aside and kind of forget that you have. You're going to put it in ideally like a high yield savings account where it can earn some little bit better interest than a standard bank account, but you're not going to touch it. So this is if something like catastrophic were to happen. Again, it could be something like job loss, or your roof blows off in a tornado. I don't know, something crazy that happens that's a huge expense that you wouldn't typically just have that money to fix. That's the only time that you're going to tap into that money, not when you've overspent on a credit card or you want to go on vacation, something like that. That money is kind of set it and forget it until you absolutely need it. So step 4 then is investing 15% of your income towards your retirement. And Dave recommends that you freeze, like stop contributing to any retirement plans until you're debt free. And this is to help motivate you to do it faster and to free up a little bit of extra money in the budget to be able to speed that process up. However, this is another area that we chose not to follow this. We did not want to give up our employer matches. So both of our employers offer a 3% match. And we did not want to give up free money. So we still contributed that minimum to earn the match and continued on contributing and getting that match as well. I would say only contribute up to the amount that you need to earn that match, and not anything additional while you are paying off debt though. Once you're done, you could obviously ramp that up. And we have some very aggressive savings goals, and we actually save more than 15%, not necessarily towards retirement though. But moving on, step 5 is saving for your kids' college. Again, this is something that's personal. Not every family is going to do this. Not everybody has kids. Definitely, this is something that we waited until we were debt-free to do. This was not a high priority while we were paying off debt. Every time our kids did get money, though, even while we were in debt, it would either go into a savings or into their 529 accounts. But we personally did not contribute to those accounts until we were debt-free. And now we do contribute $25 per child per month. So not a huge amount, but it's something, and it has that compounding interest factor so that it will, over the years until they need it to, and when they go to college, it will grow significantly. So step 6, pay off your home early. Again, this can kind of be a hot topic item. People say, like, don't pay it off early because there's tax benefits, but not really because it's interest. But this is something that we are kind of doing. So one of our 2022 goals is to pay down our mortgage enough to be able to drop the PMI. We did not have the full 20% down when we purchased our home. So we spend close to $50 a month on that private mortgage insurance every month. So that's $50 a month. That is money wasted that could be going towards principal. So that is something we are working on this year. It will be $22,000 in principal that we have to pay in order to be able to drop that by the end of the year. So I do some Transfer Tuesday videos where I share our progress as we are working towards that goal. And we are about halfway to that goal as we are about halfway into the year. So we will be ramping that up in the second half. We finished maxing out the Roth IRA in the first 6 months of the year, so now we can focus just on that goal for the remainder of the year. And then Dave's last step is to build wealth and give generously. Obviously something that we can all aspire to do and be better at. One other thing I did want to mention that Dave is adamant on is not using credit cards. And this is something else that, while I understand the principle behind it, people tend to overspend, and there's studies that show it. If you don't use cash, you tend to spend more money. So his whole thing is to use cash and pay for everything in cash, doing the envelope system. We do use credit cards, but we use them responsibly. We pay them in full every single month. I think there's maybe been 2 times where we had to carry a balance, and those were for some extenuating circumstances, like my car engine needed to be rebuilt or something, and that was a huge expense. So we had to carry over a little bit for that, and then I think one other time. But you do not want to be paying credit card interest rates. Like, those will keep you in debt forever. So if you do use them, you need to use them very responsibly, pay them off weekly, every other week, whatever you need to do to not carry that balance over every single month. So those were the 7 steps of Dave Ramsey's plan to pay off debt. And like I mentioned, we were able to do that in about 4 years. We started right around the new year. That was a New Year's resolution for 2017 to start paying off our debt. And started with my husband's student loan because that was the smallest. Then I think we paid off my van, which might have been the next one. And then my student loan, because it was pretty large. So those were the steps that we used for that process. And again, so 2017 to 2020 is when we were able to completely pay off all of those debts. And I do have a video on our whole story around paying off our debt as well. But I just wanted to share what Dave's steps were, how we modified them slightly, but yet we're still able to use the principles loosely and become debt-free. So I encourage you to check out those steps, do what is going to work for you and your family, and continue on that journey to paying off your debt, and that way you can build wealth and give generously as well. Have a great day.